Hi everyone, my name is Walter Leal. I'm a distinguished professor of biochemistry here at the University of California, Davis. I'm going to be your instructor for BIS102 Section 3 throughout this winter quarter. I know that everyone is anxious to know how is going to be the format of the course, so I thought I would prepare this welcome video to you all to explain a little bit about our class. I have been working with this process of teaching online for a long time. Actually, I started that back in 2001 when I was invited for a meeting and I could not go after the September 11 event, and I did all presentation online. And after that, I taught many courses to classes overseas, everything done from here, way before the technology was available to us. Now we have so many tools available that you can make this lecture very interesting for you. Of course, it's not going to be the same as an in-person class because we cannot substitute the human contact, yet it's going to be the best way possible. I have been prepared for that for a long time, and I hope that we are going to make it a very useful quarter, a very learning experience throughout this quarter in this class. Together with me, I'm going to have Tara as TA to team up in this BIS102 class. Let me talk now a little bit about the class format. We are going to use the Zoom webinar. This is not the conventional Zoom meeting. Zoom webinar, first of all, requires registration. So you are going to be required to register for this webinar to get your private personal link. So before anything else, I'm going to give you the link that you go there, and only once throughout the entire quarter you have to register. I'm going to ask you for your own benefit that you enter the email from UC Davis, and also that you enter your real name. Don't use nicknames in that registration. It's very important for proper credit. During the presentation, during the classes, I'm going to be interrupting the session from time to time. Let's say it's every 15 or 20 minutes I'm going to stop and take questions and the answers directly from you. Not in real time, and I don't do real time in class anyway. I always stop in class and entertain questions. I don't go and present everything at the end of the session, ask questions. I'm going to interrupt from time to time, take polls, and they're also taking questions so that we have plenty of opportunity to interact. The Zoom webinar format does not require that you have your camera on unless you and me agree to have your camera. So in that case, you don't have to worry about the privacy. And the microphone is the same thing, only if you agree. For example, when I read the questions from the question and the answers, I may select one or two students to ask the question directly on the microphone. However, if the student is shy, wants to be anonymous, that's perfectly okay. We don't want to put anyone on the spot. For the office hours, there will be a different format. For the office hours, we are going to use Zoom meeting. However, it requires also a registration. So you register once for the entire quarter. And that's important, again, that you use UC Davis email and that you use your own name and you put on your calendar, because I'm not going to be able to provide anyone with a link because those are individual personal links that you get once you register, either for a webinar or for the office hours. Tara is going to have a different link for the office hours, so you also go to the link that she's provided. So it's very important that you keep track of these links and you have everything organized at your end so that you can smoothly participate in class. The official platform for the class is going to be Canvas for announcements and everything, exams and so on and so forth. However, we are going to be using Piazza for discussion, and the Piazza also requires a registration that you have to do that by yourself. So you have a various registration that you have to do before the class starts. Soon after I give you time to watch this video, I'm going to publish the syllabus and the relevant information, so all the links and everything that you need to go first to make your registrations already there, and I strongly encourage you to do that before class starts. Now let's talk about the exams. Students are always interested to know about exams. As you know, the Academic Senate decides that for the winter quarter, the instructor is in charge of deciding whether there will be or there will not be a final exam. And that information must be delivered to students by the first week of the class. Instead of me making a decision by myself, I did a poll via Twitter, and also, more importantly, I ask you directly on a survey what's your preference. And I am siding with the majority. So the majority of the class prefer not having a final exam. So there will be no final exam for this class, and this decision is final. Another piece of good news is that students, the larger majority of students that respond to the poll, they were in favor of having 3 exams with the options of dropping one of them with the lowest grade. And I decided to do exactly that. We are going to have 3 exams, and when the syllabus is published, like I said, soon after this video, I ask you to go there and check the time of these exams. We're not going to change those times. Then that's very important that you make a schedule for the midterm 1, 2, and 3. And the good news is that these 3 exams, only 2 are going to be counted towards your final grade. So each exam is going to be weighting 50% of your final grade. Of course, each exam you can grade from 0 to 100, and then we calculated the mean after the 2 best ones, and you drop the lowest one. Even if you get 100 in this class in the first and the second midterm, I still suggest strongly that you pay very close attention to the material for midterm 3, because this is also very important for the next class. When you take BIS103, you don't want to stay behind because you didn't complete the material for BIS102. There will be opportunities for extra credit, and as a matter of fact, I'm starting now. As soon as the syllabus is published, the course is published on Canvas, I'm giving you an opportunity for an extra credit. So let's talk a little bit about this extra credit. Again, this is not mandatory, it's a volunteer activity. It's a video of 2 minutes that you record under the understanding that the best video I may make it public. So the video is about vaccines, and the video is worth a maximum of 10 points towards any of the midterms. So if you do not get 100% in that midterm, and let's say you get 90%, you're going to have 10 points of the video that can augment that grade for that particular midterm. And if you get 100% in the first midterm, you can carry over to the second midterm or carry over to the third midterm. It's a good deal because you have in your pocket a bonus of 10 points toward any of the midterms. And what's the video about? It's about the vaccine, and I ask that you go to the syllabus and the relevant information that's going to have all the information that you need about the video, and also all the links that you need to go to get your registration for the webinar, for the class, for the office hours, both for my office hours and for Tara's office hours, as well as to go to register for the discussion on Piazza. The video is about vaccines, and let's talk very briefly here about vaccines. As you know, when a virus or a foreign organism invades the human system, the antigen-present cells go and destroy this virus, in this particular case here, the SARS-CoV-2, that's the virus that causes the COVID-19, the disease. So the antigen presents cells destroy, and then present parts of this virus, like for example the so-called spike protein, this very famous protein here. And they present this protein to the T help cells. The T help cells then is going to trigger the process where the B cells are going to produce the antigens, and the killer T cells are going to destroy the infected cells. So all we want to do to generate a good vaccine is to find ways of producing proteins from this virus inside of the body. There are various ways of doing that. If you want to know a little bit more, you can watch my the video of my latest COVID symposium that appears online on YouTube. At 56 minutes of that video, I give an explanation how the vaccine works and things like that that might be very useful. So the two major types of gene-based vaccines, there are very different types of vaccine. I'm going to focus here on gene-based vaccines because there are two major types, and that's the most one that people are talking about now. The Moderna vaccine, the Pfizer vaccine, they are gene-based vaccine. There are gene-based vaccines, some of them are based on DNA, and some of them, like the Moderna and the Pfizer, they are based on RNA. Moderna, by the way, is modified RNA. So let's talk here about those two types of vaccine. The RNA is a very unstable molecule. If you have a work of RNA in the lab, you know that you have to be always clean up everything and using get rid of DNAs because or RNAs, because they are there to destroy your RNA very quickly. So DNA is a little bit more stable molecule. The problem with DNA is that you have to introduce this vaccine and make it all the way to the nucleus, where this DNA is going to be transcribed in RNA. And then RNA is going to be translated into protein that you want to target. So there is a company here in California working on a vaccine. The company is called Inovio, who work on a DNA vaccine, that they have a system that they are going to get through the cells and get it to the nucleus. That vaccine is going to be available probably next year, and there is going to be many vaccines available next year. Right now we have two vaccines that are started to be used. It's not available to you and me yet, but it's already available. That's the vaccine that's based on RNA, because RNA is very unstable. They have a coating around that, but as you know, the vaccine from Pfizer requires -8 Celsius, and the vaccine from Moderna requires also low temperature, not that very low, because otherwise the vaccine is going to lose the activity. So you inject that on the arm, and then it gets in the human body, and then in the human body is going to be translated, that RNA, into protein, the spike protein. So basically what you are doing is that you're making your body to produce the spike protein, and the spike protein is going to be recognized by your body as a foreign organism. And the whole process that you know, when the body encounters something foreign, they start the process of generating antibodies. And that antibody and the memory is that going to cause the immunity. The extra credit is about the vaccine. You don't need to go this route here. There are various options that you do as long as you connect anything with biochemistry. For example, you can even argue, the extreme case, you can argue that it's not a good idea to take a vaccine, which I completely disagree, but that's a matter of opinion. And if you can also make an argument in your video, that's a very important thing to take a vaccine. So I'm going to select with the with the help of the grader, because we are going to watch all these videos. I'm going to select the best videos, and a couple of them I'm going to place those videos on YouTube and also make it public to Twitter. So your participation is with the understanding that this video is going to be publicly available. If you wanted to use some illustration, for example, I show here some information, don't use exactly the same because of the copyrights, and this is the material that I'm going to present in class later on. So I hope that's clear and you have a notion how to work with this extra credit activity. Thank you very much for watching. I'm really looking forward. I'm working very hard to prepare a class that's going to be stimulating, that you're going to learn a lot, and I look forward to starting talking to you mostly every day of the week, because we have activities throughout the week in biochemistry. From Monday to Friday we have activities, either office hours or we have our class. So I look forward to seeing you and starting January 4, and I hope that you are going to have a very enjoyable quarter and a very wonderful learning experience in biochemistry. Stay safe and happy holidays.